You are listening to Faith in the Firehouse. This is a podcast by firefighters talking about Jesus, the fire service, and life around the firehouse, taking a look at things through the lens of the gospel. We're not pastors or preachers or Bible scholars. We're just firefighters after God's own heart, and we want to talk about it. If you want to join in on the conversation, hit the comment section. If you want to help support us, just like, subscribe, share. We appreciate it. This is episode 45. I'm your host, Daniel, and today I have a short interview for you with Captain Mark Rossi of the Fort Lauderdale Fire Department. I had the absolute honor to get to know him at Bearers of the Oath. We had some great conversations, and I'm really grateful that he took the time to chat with me on camera as well so I can share it with you guys. Cap shares some of his wisdom and knowledge that he's gained over his career, and of course we talked about faith. He's got over 25 years in the fire service, founding member of Big Fire, Big Water class, Bearers of the Oath cadre member, published author, proud member of the Black Pearl Pipes and Drums. So many accolades, too many to list here, and he is celebrating his retirement this week. So congratulations to you, sir. And with all those accolades, I can just hear him correcting me now because he is such an humble individual. He would say, don't call me Cap, don't call me sir, just call me Rossi. But you earned it. And I hope you enjoy your retirement. And to the rest of you listeners, hope you guys enjoy this conversation. God bless.
Yeah, it eases my nerves too, because I'm like, all right, I asked the Holy Spirit for guidance here.
That's it, it's all good.
So, all right, I'm here with Captain Mark Rossi from the Fort Lauderdale Fire Department. It's an honor to have you here, man. I've heard a lot about you. We have some mutual friends, and excited to actually get to meet you in person. And we've had some awesome conversations over the last couple of days and this morning. So we figured, let's hop on and record some of this because this is stuff other guys need to hear.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is a very humbling experience, and I met you through Sturm and a good friend, and this is going to be nice. So nice conversation, and let's get into it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So as I mentioned, you work for City of Fort Lauderdale.
Yes,
How long have you been on the job?
Been on the job total of 28 years, 24 and a half with Fort Lauderdale, given the time that I bought back. Started with the volunteer department, Coral Springs Fire Department, long time ago. Went paid for a year, went to a smaller department after that, Oakland Park for about 4.5 years. Came to Fort Lauderdale. I had a younger sibling in Fort Lauderdale. Tough decision to make. I got an offer from Orlando Fire Department, your department, Tampa, and Fort Lauderdale all at once, and I had to make a decision. But because my family was there, went back there, and I've been there ever since. It's been a blessing.
That's awesome. Be honest, this was the tough decision, partly because you didn't want your little brother to have seniority on you.
He already did have seniority but we have seniority based on time and rank, but I got him by rank once I got promoted to captain. Right. So it was just nice to work with my brother. It was awesome.
That is awesome. I got an opportunity to work for a couple years with my brother as well.
Oh, that's cool. Cool.
Yeah. So you're getting towards the end of your career, you were telling me earlier. So selfishly, I'm going to take this opportunity to ask you some advice personally as a new company officer. I just stepped into that role.
Yep.
What advice would you have for any young company officers out there?
So I guess the biggest thing I could tell you is, and it's nothing that you can, we talked about this earlier, it's nothing that you can find out of a textbook, out of a leadership class. I have a motto, and a lot of it stems back to why we're out here today at Bearers of the Oath, our faith, right? Mm-hmm. But I try to treat every single person like they're my family. I come into work, I'm going to give you an example just to further answer your question. I'll go a little bit deeper maybe, right? I try to really take care of my crew. Like, that's my biggest priority. Like, when I come in the station every morning, and I've been a company officer now for more than a decade, right? I come in the first 3 minutes that I arrive at the station, our shift starts at 8, I'm there by 6:30 because Engine 8 downtown, all senior guys, we try to relieve each other by 7 o'clock. That's just what we've always done. I sit in my truck for the first 3 minutes. I say a little prayer. God, help me be the best servant leader that I can be today, and help me just get the men and women that I'm going to serve today home. That is all I focus on. Our citizens are important. They're always going to be important, but my crew comes first. And, I can argue that point with chief officers, and I've done that before. We're going to run calls. We're going to train. We're going to laugh. We're going to have bad calls. The fire service. But at the end of the day, as a company officer, especially as a captain of a busy firehouse, I have a lot of weight on my shoulders. I don't take it lightly. It's not just a bump and pay for me. I don't even care about the money. I would do it for free sometimes. I think about it, It's more about, do I take care of my crew, and how do I take care of them? And that means, and I'll give you just further go on that if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm training, I'm in my gear first. Like, I'm not going to tell my guys, get in your gear and go do a drill in 100 degrees, and I'm going to sit back in my blues and just watch them. I'm going to put my gear on and sweat. I can't move as fast as them. I'm not as flexible anymore. They know that when we flow water, because I still like to do the basics, but I'm going to be in my gear first. Birthdays, anniversaries, special days, I put it on my calendar. I know it. We get them cakes. We surprise them. I buy them. I try to take Once a month, I try to take my company out and buy them dinner and breakfast. I cook every Saturday for my crew. That's my thing. Like, I love to cook. I love to use our smoker at the station. But I'm a big believer of I want to leave my firehouse in a couple weeks, because I am retiring in a couple weeks, knowing that I'm going to leave them in good hands with the up and coming officer. But more importantly than running calls and doing what our jobs are is teaching them, like, just how to keep that fire burning deep. And from day one up until my very last hour, last minute as a Fort Lauderdale captain on Engine 8, I'm going to be doing my job and keeping that same passion. So that's a little bit about it.
That's so important, and you touched on keeping the fire going. Another conversation we had earlier was, as I've shared with my listeners and a lot of the guys here, I went through a period where I didn't love the job, and I did not care to be at a place like this, and what a shame that is, how much I missed out on. But I'm stoked and just, like on fire again, and grateful to God that, because it's because of Him that I'm here.
Yep.
But I realized after talking to guys like you, listening to all the testimonies and from other guys who've been through the career, it feels like it's inevitable at some point. You're going to have challenges throughout your career.
Yep.
And there may be moments, I think for most of us, that the job is hard, or maybe it's, for me, I was ready to walk away. I just didn't know what else I could do.
Yep.
And I'm thankful for that, because I hung in there. So what advice do you have for someone who may be going through that? They want to, because they did love the job. They did, they just don't have it in them anymore. What advice would you have to kind of reignite that fire?
And I'm going to share a personal story, and I don't mind, because I know who your audience is and listeners. Yeah. So there was a period in my career, and I think we probably all go through it, burnout, right? And unfortunately, I had a mistress. It was the fire service. Let me make that clear to your listeners. Right? I've been married to my wife for 20 years. She is my rock. She has been there for me when I got injured. But my mistress was the fire service. Mm-hmm. I taught at the academy all the time. I ran my classes. I had an engine and a truck class. Then I moved into some other stuff. Played with the pipes and drums. Got involved in the benevolent. Got involved in the Fort Lauderdale Fire Conference expos. My entire days off were dedicated to the fire service, not realizing that it was really taking a toll, not just on me, because I didn't really realize it, but it was taking a toll on my family, my wife. We don't have kids, but my family is my wife and our four-legged friend. But my wife and I, like I said, we're very close, and she means the world to me, right? Mm-hmm. I had a friend of mine, he's a retired Palm Beach County fireman, one day say to me, he goes, why do you teach so much at the academy? He goes, how many more burns do you need to do? He goes, dude, why don't you just enjoy your day off and go, come on the boat with me, or go do whatever you do that's for fun. And I don't know. At the time, maybe I was driven by money. Maybe I was driven by pride. Maybe I was driven by, but what happened is that slowly over time, it was starting to really take a toll on my wife. My wife came up to me and she said, you spend so much time with your brothers, and I know you love this job, because I did corporate America a very long time ago. She goes, but where do I fit in the equation? She goes, the fire department's first, and you always say, God's up there, and this is before my faith journey. She goes, where do I fit in the equation? That's all it took. That's all it took. And I remember just how bad I felt and how depressed I felt. I'm like, I've let my family down, my wife, and I've let my other family members down. So I had to take a step back. And when I say take a step back, it didn't happen right away, but it happened over a few months. And I said, okay, time to cut this out. What's important? What can I focus on the most? So now you have a list of stuff, right? I said, I'm going to teach one class. The conferences kind of stopped. Not that I kind of gave up my position in the benevolent. And listen, I can tell your listeners, when this stuff happens, when you're ingrained in the fire service and you put 120% in, the minute you step away, you know what guys do that don't believe in you? They'll step on you. I won't say the word I'm going to say. They crush you, they step on you, they make you feel like you never should have been a part of their department. And then I really realized who my true friends in the fire service were. I said, I don't need that. I don't need that negativity. I don't need these guys bashing me, because you step away, because they know that they can always call you up and you're the yes man, because I was the yes man for a very long time. I was getting burned out. I was getting depressed. So to answer your question, that's when certain people came into my life. Certain friends, my tribe, my 6 other guys that I have that I can rely on every single day, and I'm going to mention their names. I know they don't mind. Yeah. Mutual friend Nate Sturm came into my life right at the worst part of my career, and I didn't even realize how it happened. Right, this is my whole faith journey. Chris Snow, Tom Hollick, Kevin Pfluger, Jason Painter, and then the guy that runs this conference, Bears of the Shane Bentley. Mm-hmm. I mean, These guys are my brothers, man. They really are. So I don't want to go off on a tangent, but what happened was I got to a point in my career where I got lonely and depressed because I was just going in the wrong direction. And I didn't have a real relationship with God at all. Not until I met these guys, when I started to first learn how to, pray, read the Bible, how important it was to have a relationship. Because I grew up Catholic. It was stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down.
Yeah.
So I'm not bashing the Catholic Church. My parents, that's just what I was taught. But it was until I met these other, and again, to kind of end this question, I'm sorry to go off on a little.
No, go.
But I guess to put it
here.
Okay, to put it kind of in perspective, once I met these guys that I just mentioned, is when I learned how to have a real relationship with God, and know how important that was. Being out here, and I know we'll talk about this in a minute, at this Bearers of the Oath conference, the two things that I love about this conference is that we're all hard-charging firemen, because these guys are all badasses. They are, I swear. And they all love God. That's what brought us together. And once I got that relationship, instead of my life going like this, it started going like this.
It's wild how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those names you mentioned have either, like Nate's been on the podcast. I'm gonna get with Chris Snow, and I need to try to get with all of them while I can. But there is something special in that group and what they're doing here. And so, what advice do you have for guys that are maybe wanting to be more bold in their faith around the fire station, maybe navigating some of those issues of like how to be in the world but not of it?
That is a tough question. You and I talked about this before. Two things that are notorious that don't get talked about in the firehouse, right? Religion and politics. Mm-hmm. Let's forget the politics for a minute. I'll use myself as an example. The guys all know they can come to me, they can talk to me. I'm an open book. 5 years ago, forget it, I never would bring it up. And I'm not saying I was ashamed of it, but there was a period where I would never even bring up anything religious based because I just didn't know how guys would take it. I wasn't never ashamed, but I was scared, and I was like, well, why would I talk about this in the firehouse? It's not, you're here, you come in here, you bust your butt for 24 hours, you run a lot of calls, you're a hard charger. Weakness wasn't, 20 years ago when I came on, there was nothing called a weak fireman. You dealt with it and you moved on. And if you didn't, then you could find something else to do. But then you start looking at the way the world is, right? Look at how much hatred is in the world today. If this world had a little bit more love for God and faith and just belief in what we believe in out here, we would be in a 10 times better place,
100%.
And so now you see a shift in the industry and the change, and you see, I do a lot of reading, and it's unfortunate what I'm about to say, but we don't want to have suicides or line of duty deaths, right? But all of a sudden, the number of suicides go up and the number of line of duty deaths are down. Not that it needs to be one way or the other, but why are so many firemen hurting? It's because they don't have an outlet. Yeah. The fire departments don't even have an idea of how to handle it. Right. I'm going to use another example, right? I had a sibling that I was very close to in the fire service. Went through some bad times in his life. Love him dearly, and he's my brother. And it almost ended badly. I won't get on the details here, but again, like our department didn't even know how to handle it. I had guys and gals coming to me and saying, "Oh, you need to do this and this." I said, "I'm never going to go against my blood. I don't care what the issue is. I'm never going to go against my own brother." I had to go to somebody outside the fire department, another good friend of mine, Rick George, who's been in the fire service forever, a very good Christian brother, and say, "Rick, what do I do in this situation?" And then it helped work itself out. But to kind of further answer your question, there's guys in your fire department that you can talk to. I can tell you right now, any of your listeners, they can call me or email me. They don't have to work in Fort Lauderdale. They can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can I call that guy Rossi?" You're not bothering me. I love it when people call me. I mean, this is the whole reason I'm out here, is to meet other guys. And I'm an open book. I would help any brother or sister in the fire service or anybody that wants to, since this is a fire service based, find a way, because dude, if you don't find your own tribe, who are you going to talk to? How do you do this job without a faith in God? Do you talk to a counselor that has the ideas? There's only one person that has the answers to everything, and we know, right? He's up there. He's pouring.
That's right.
He's bringing his heavenly rain down us right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'll get you out of the rain here.
No, it's all good.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, and like I said, I know we're going to talk more. And thank you for sharing with our audience. Let's get you out of the rain. But before
I got to tell your audience one more thing now.
Yeah. Okay.
I would tell you this, and it's about this Bearers of the Oath conference.
Yes.
I've been to hundreds of conferences over my entire career, all over this country. This is by far the best conference I've ever been to. No egos, no attitudes, no cliques, and there's just a group of firemen out here that love to train, but we're all connected to the love of God, and that's what I love about this. It's unbelievable. So
Yeah. Favorite book or a memory verse, something you can leave the
boy.
listener for to
My favorite
to go
book
look
is the
up.
Bible, just like I told him in the other
Yeah.
podcast. I read it every day. It's a blueprint for life. It's a blueprint for a company officer. It's a blueprint for everything, right? But I will leave you with one other book. It's Not Your Ship by Captain Abrahoff. He's a naval commander. He took the worst ship in the Navy and he turned it around and made it the best ship in the Navy. My best. I'm not a big on phrases, but I'm going to tell you what I have. It's tattooed right here on my arm. Iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
Even though my wife thought it was Ron sharpens Ron, Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron. You're defined by the people that you surround yourself with. That's what I leave you with, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you
bro.
so much for
Yeah, man.
having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was great.